through our educational programming, much of which is focused on science, technology, engineering, and math, we strive to inspire innovation and help nurture tomorrow's researchers, tomorrow's engineers, and scientists, and I suspect tonight especially, some astronauts. We are very excited to host such an incredible group of individuals on the panel this evening, led by the remarkable Ira Flatow, who will be introducing our guests on the stage shortly. With Ira at the helm, we are sure this is going to be an extraordinary evening. And before we begin, I do want to introduce and highlight some of the friends that we have in the audience tonight. We are very pleased to welcome Greg Olson, an extraordinary entrepreneur and research scientist who is the third private citizen in space. He has graciously loaned us Russian Soyuz TMA-6 capsule, and that capsule is in the pavilion up on the flight deck, which you will see later this evening. He returned in that capsule from space, from the ISS to Earth, and we are grateful for your donation. Thank you for your loan. And in case one space traveler wasn't enough, we are also joined by Richard Garriott. Richard is a celebrated video game designer who became the 6th private citizen in space in 2008. And he happens to be the son of former NASA astronaut Owen Garriott. Richard, if you will. And lastly, we are pleased to welcome a group of individuals who are set to experience the future of space exploration firsthand. Those who have reserved seats on Virgin Galactic's first voyages. A replica of this spaceship that they will fly in is on our flight deck as we speak, and some of you might have seen it already. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming a man who brings an informative discussion on science, technology, health, space, and environment to over 2 million radio and internet listeners worldwide. He is the founder and president of the Science Friday Initiative, an organization dedicated to creating audio, video, and internet projects that make science a topic of discussion from the dinner table to across the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of Science Friday and your moderator for this evening, Mr. Ira Flatow.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We hope to have a very fun, exciting, and fun-filled evening here. Informative. Let me ask you to do the two things that everybody asks you, right? One is to put your, no, not that. One is to put your phones on stuns or turn them down so that they don't ring. We don't like that. Also, second is that there'll be cards. There are cards that are being handed out. And please feel free to write a question down that you'd like us to ask or discuss on the panel. And then just make the card have its way made out toward this end of the aisle. And some of them will collect them and we'll bring them up here for a topic of discussion. And we do have, a very eclectic group of panelists here, and rather than me stumble my way through introducing them, I'm going to have them tell you what they think you should know about themselves. Starting with this gentleman.
Sure. All right, well, hello everyone. My name is Will Pomerantz. I'm Vice President of Special Projects at Virgin Galactic. For those of you who may not be familiar with Virgin Galactic, we're a privately funded company founded by Richard Branson. We're part of the same group of companies that includes Virgin Atlantic and Virgin America, Virgin Records. You may have heard of a bunch of the other Virgin companies. But instead of selling you records or train tickets or healthcare or banking or all the other things that Richard will sell you, we'll take you to space. We're in the latter phases of the test flight program for Spaceship Two. It's the first ever commercially built and operated vehicle exclusively to take all of us into space. Right now, we have sold tickets to over 700 people who are waiting in line for their flights. And as I think we'll talk about later tonight, only 543 people have been to space as of today. So we're really excited to double that number. Last thing is, outside of work, I'm also the chair of the Board of Trustees for an organization called the Students for the Exploration and Development of Space. It's the largest student-run space organization in the world. So they keep me thinking even further into the future of space exploration. So thanks everyone for having me.
Well, thanks for being here.
Hi, I'm Mike Massimino. I'm a NASA astronaut. I've flown in space 2 times. Both of my trips have been to the Hubble Space Telescope. And I'm currently on loan from NASA at Columbia University. I'm on loan like a book. It's loaned out to Columbia. Columbia has a library that doesn't own books from. NASA has as a group of people that they loan astronauts from. So I'm at Columbia for Columbia Engineering School for this year, and I'm teaching a course, Introduction to Human Spaceflight, and having a great time in Manhattan.
I'm Bob Gresky. You may know me from the internet. I also helped put a car on Mars Curiosity, in August of 2012. I was part of the team that designed, developed, and implemented that, and now I'm working on a Europa Clipper study.
Let me start at the end and what you do with Mars, and why are we so interested in Mars? Why are we spending so much time?
Well, I mean, so I'm sure all of you guys have looked in the night sky. Well, you've seen Mars. It's a bright orange or reddish dot in the sky. I think for me, the appeal of Mars is that if you look kind of where we are on the Earth and talk about studying the Earth and understanding the planet that we're on, everything that we've done really has involved kind of one data point. I mean, we have this planet, we have this solar system around us, but we're really just investigating our planet alone, and you can't really draw a trend. You can't really understand the context, I think, of Earth without sort of understanding the context of which, where our planet lives in our own solar system, let alone in all the galaxy and the universe. So Mars is kind of that amazing place. It's right next door. It's easy enough to get to. It's not easy. I spent 10 years getting there, but it's easy enough, and we can do it. And we can understand enough about a planet that's very similar to Earth, that's not so much further from the sun than our own planet. Daytime temperatures can reach the same temperatures they do on Earth. We've proven that it has a history of water, that it could have been habitable for life at some point in the past. You look at the pictures. For me, I look at the pictures, and that's the thing that resonates the most with me. It looks like the Grand Canyon, it looks like the desert, and I feel like I could be a person walking there, and it's not an entirely foreign world. So I think Mars gives you that second data point, that way of sort of looking in the mirror and saying, what is Earth, and why is our planet so special? Why is our planet so different than Mars? Or why did these two planets go in such different paths? So I think that's for me, that's why Mars is so exciting.
Why not instead of the moon? Why don't we go back? You guys can jump in if you want to comment on it.
I mean, I can't talk so much. I don't know. I mean, the moon is a much harsher environment. I don't think we expected life would survive or thrive ever there. But Mars is different. 3 billion years ago, there was water running, maybe ankle or maybe knee high on big parts of the planet. So I mean, that's where there's water on Earth, there is life. So I think that's kind of the ultimate question, of course, is are we alone, and how likely is it that this scenario where people are sitting in a room and talking exists elsewhere in the universe?
Mike, I have to say you're one of NASA's most visible astronauts. You pop up on the Big Bang Theory.
They roll me out a lot, yes.
And it seems that no matter what people think, that the space really still is a popular item in the public's image, isn't it? The public really likes to talk about space.
Yeah, I think so. And it's interesting getting away from the Johnson Space Center for a little bit, being up here in New York. And Johnson Space Center was interested in the space program, of course, we do work there, but I don't think we have an appreciation for how much other people who aren't either working or just not even anywhere near the city of Houston or some of the other cities where we have our big space flight centers like Pasadena and so on, that people are very, very interested around the world. And the students that I have in my class are just as excited about space travel, and it's a little bit different now. It's not necessarily just working for NASA, but there's other opportunities for them, but they still have that great interest in space travel in the future, and I think they're just as excited as I was when I was their age. So there still is a great interest. There's no doubt about it, and hopefully, with the stuff that Will's doing and all these other companies, and as we go forward, it'll include more and more people, and more people find out about it and be able to partake and hopefully enrich their lives in some way.
Mm-hmm. Tell us, Will, about the immediate plans you have for Virgin.
Yeah, so we built and we are testing this vehicle. We've gone supersonic already, first vehicle, commercially destined vehicle to do that since the Concorde, and we plan to be in space in the next couple of months. We'll do our first commercial flights this year, some for science, and then one with our founder, Richard Branson. He's our first commercial customer, so he'll be flying to space later this year. It'll be broadcast live on the Today Show. Which is a little nerve-wracking. We've been doing a really good job. So we're working hard to make that happen as quickly as we can.
How do you view Elon Musk and SpaceX, are they competitors or are they?
No, with that, we're huge admirers of theirs. It helps that Elon and Richard are personal friends, and so certainly they get along well. But the things that Elon Musk and his company, for those of you who aren't familiar with space exploration technologies, usually just called SpaceX, I think they're doing amazing things in terms of bringing down the price per pound of space flight. You know, historically, space missions just haven't been frequent enough for me. I want more people to go, I want more robots to go, I want more satellites to go. But it's cost about the same amount per pound or per kilogram to put things in space today as it did when Sputnik flew in 1957 and when Yuri flew in 1961. Elon is finally starting to change that equation and bring the price down. And we are also, but we're doing it at very different scales. You know, he's building things that'll fly a couple tons to space, and fly a couple, hundred pounds to space.
Right, because people think, and you said this before, people think that now that the space shuttle is no longer operating, that space has been shut down. But it's not true at all.
Right. It was really interesting for me to see as NASA retired the space shuttle, and I live in Los Angeles. We were fortunate enough to get one of the orbiters to come out to our museum, and it was just amazing to see how many people lined the streets for hours and hours and hours to watch the orbiter fly by. But there was this mistaken understanding there, people thinking that space shuttle is retired, that means NASA is retired, that means spaceflight is retired. And I can understand how people would think that, but it's totally wrong. We're actually, I think, at one of the most dynamic times in the space industry ever. There's more stuff going on. It's happening in more places around the world, different sizes of institution. You can have giant government organizations and you can have Kickstarter campaigns, and they're all doing space flight. So we as the public and we as professionals both have to get used to how do we talk about this and how do we figure out what's real versus what's just a drawing on paper, and we'll never advance past that. But there's really, really exciting stuff there. I love what Mike was saying about his students being just as excited as they always were to go work for NASA or Virgin Galactic or JPL or anywhere else. People do still love it. We just have to help them understand what's out there.
So there will be jobs for people.
Yeah, there already are.
Do your students say to you, why are you training me, why are you talking about this? Because I'm not going to find a job for them.
No, my students just worry about their grades. No, they're honestly, they really are interested. In my class is an elective class, so they don't have to take it, and we have pretty good enrollment. My TA is here, he helps me out a lot, and but I think what it is that the students, they see the space program as more than just NASA, right? So out of my class, I was telling Will, we have one of my students is going to be an intern at Virgin Galactic. Another one's going to be an intern at Kennedy Space Center. Another one at Ames Research Center. And another one at JPL. And they're interested in working for SpaceX and the other commercial companies as well. So there's a big interest. I think the thing that has got me really excited is that there's ways that they can be entrepreneurial about it. I think one difference, maybe it may just be generational, or I don't know, but it seems like the younger students today are interested in being entrepreneurs. They see ways that they can do things that are different and start companies and this sort of thing. So when Richard Branson and Elon Musk and the other entrepreneurs that are actually putting their own money in, I guess, right? I'm not an investment guy or anything, but I have trust in these guys. So if these guys think they can make some money off it, this is pretty good. So I think what the students see is that it's not only just a cool thing to work on a space shuttle, but they see it as an entrepreneurial thing as well.
Bob, how do you react to hearing Will say, you can get one geologist on Mars can do something with a pickaxe in an hour more than all of your robots that you're making sticking on Mars forever? It's
absolutely true. I mean, the reality of the situation is, we drive 100 meters in a day. You can't do anything else if you drive 100 meters a day. So you're not walking 100 meters and then picking a rock. You're just, I drive 100 meters, so it's thoughts today. And so it's definitely a very different cadence and a very different pace than having humans. I think it's a necessary step. We need to prove the technologies to get people there. You need to understand a little about the environment before we send people there. So it's kind of it's a building block to eventually have people there. But we would love to, ultimately, we want to put geologists, in the field doing their job. And actually, kind of one of the things that we talked about with the retiring the shuttle program, I think that was, what the big misconception was, that NASA was pulling away from that. The reality is, you're gathering your troops, right? We're sort of at this point with NASA, with commercial space and sending people via other means to space. But we want to gather our troops, gather our resources, and then, engage in the next step, which is hopefully sending the people to Mars and beyond low Earth orbit. And that's kind of that's why that opportunity works out so well for us. I mean, we have people who can now commercially make this a successful model, and NASA can focus maybe more importantly on sending that geologist to Mars to understand the planet. There's nothing like having a person there and saying that's an interesting rock and that's not an interesting rock.
But it's so expensive to send somebody to Mars.
Absolutely.
How do you pay for it? I mean, is it an international? Do you get together in countries, cooperate, paying, splitting the bill, like maybe like the International Space Station, or the country, the individuals, like China wants to go, India wants to go, the U.S. says it wants to go. How, it's a huge amount of money.
Well, even with Curiosity, right? I mean, we are an American-built and designed robot, but we have instruments, contributed by Spanish, Spain, French contributions, Canada, Russia, you name it. So I mean, already NASA is sort of in the model of international collaboration. ISS is obviously the biggest example of where we've worked internationally to make something happen. We have European, Japanese, Canadian, American, Russian astronauts all working in the same space. Mike can probably talk more
Mike?
about that.
Yeah, I think the International Space Station is a great example of what countries can do together. The countries of Europe and Canada and the U.S. and Russia work together. It's a lot of money, and it's not an easy problem to get people to Mars and back. It's a long way away. It's much more complicated than going to the moon. It's going to cost a lot more money than doing that. I mean, I'm not a policy expert, I'm not a business guy, but I would think if countries are going to do this, they should do it together. I think that we'd be forced to do it together to pull the talent and resources. And if there's some entrepreneur that can figure out a way to make it work economically and make money off it, that's probably even better. But I can't. I think that if countries are going to do it, it's probably best to do it together. I think the International Space Station is a good example of that.
If you have questions, you want to write them down, and pass them to the end of the road. Somebody will come and collect them, and we'll bring them up here and start asking.
I'll add one thing to
Yeah.
that. And I think one of the great things about space is it's really one of these amazingly uniquely human endeavors, and not really. I mean, yes, I'm proud as an American of the NASA and the space program that we built here, but I don't think the moment we put a car on Mars, I wasn't thinking America. I was thinking this is an amazing moment for humans. Like when we pool our resources together, when we do